Hello students, in this video we see how session variable works in ASP.NET website. Here in previous video we have already seen how view state works. View states are page level or page level state management, means the view state variables values are stored inside the page itself, but session variable we can access within entire application. Within any page we can access the value of session variables which are stored on server side. So it is a server based state management, page client based state management, and there is another part is server based state management. View state comes under client based state management, whereas session comes under server based state management. So we here see how we can maintain a state by using session variables. Here I am creating one new web page and giving the name as session demo.aspx, and I am adding this page. Now here as we are designing our view state demo page, like saying I am designing this page also. One label, and after a label there is one button to increment the label's value. I am changing the text property of this button as next value. To display the next value we click on, user clicks on this button, and this label's text property I am removing, means empty text. On page load there will not be any value displayed in this label. Now when user clicks on next value, we need to display the next value which is present inside label. Whatever the value present inside label, we want to display the next value of it. So here we use session variables, but before accessing the session we need to check is there any count present or created, count variable created or not. First time there is no any session variable, at that time this condition will be true. Session of count is exactly equal to null, means when there is no any session whose key is count, that particular session is not present. At that time only, first time session we will create, first time session we will create and set the count value as 0. This statement will be executed only first time. When session is not created yet, at that time only this statement will be executed. Otherwise when this statement will be executed and then next time a user clicks on button, then this statement will not be executed because session variable is already created, has been already created. So control goes to this line where we are storing this session count value inside one integer variable session. Session is already created here, and that old value we are storing inside this integer variable. So session, view state, these variables are of object type, so we need to typecast here from object to int type. So I am typecasting here by using int. Then that i's next value we need to store inside this label. So label2 dot text is equal to plus I. I want to display that next value of ith next value, and we need to again typecast here to string. Now that updated I now we need to store inside this session. Now next value is the old value for that next value. So inside session there is only current value. Okay, update that session value by using I. This updated value of I we need to store inside this session variable now, because previously old value is present inside this count. Now our I is updated, so updated I we need to store once again. So in this way we maintain session inside ASP.NET website. I'm running this page. If I run, what happens, see here. I'm running my application. See this session demo.aspx. I'm running this page, and if I click on next value, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these values are displayed. By using session variable, we are maintaining the set of labels value. Okay, old value we are storing inside session variable. Now if I copy this URL and opening the new tab, see what happens. In new tab I am running the same page, and if I click on next value, then the value will not be started from 1, 2, 3, 4. The value is started from the current value. Okay, see carefully, because there is a session variable still exists. If I change the tab, then also we are getting the latest value of session variable. On any page we can access this session value. But if I change the browser, I am running this web application or website inside Internet Explorer. But if I change the browser, okay, if I change the browser, if I go towards the Google Chrome, and if I paste here the URL, if I click on next value, then value started from 1, 2, 3, 4. Why this difference is in between browser to browser? If I go towards the same browser, then my session variables value started from the current value. It will not be reinitialized. But if I change the browser, then my variables value, session variables value started from 1. Why this happens? See here carefully. The session ID is stored inside cookie. Whenever we go towards any website, there is one session ID created and stored inside this cookies. Okay, so see here cookies, see all cookies inside. There is one cookie stored inside our browser. See cookie value here. Session ID is stored, and the session ID stored for this is NHUS, like this. This session ID is same for this local host and this local host website. So same session ID is stored inside the same browser, so we can access the same value in same browser tabs. We can access that same session variable value. But if we change the browser, then what happens? Inside this, what is the session ID? See here, browser to browser session is a change. Okay, here session value, session ID's value is not the same like that particular browser's value. Here also inside Chrome browser I am going towards the. Now see the session ID for this browser is not same as this browser's session. This session ID is different than this session ID. So browser to browser we are changing the session ID, or session ID is changed. That's why session variables value is reinitialized in another browser. So in this way you see inside same browser, if you go towards the next tab and if you see the session variables value, you see the current value. From current value you are getting the values. But if you change the browser, then you will reinitialize the session value or session variable reinitialized it, because session ID is different in Internet Explorer browser and in Chrome browser. Session ID is different, so that session variable is different than this session variable. That's why this difference is we are seeing. Now when session variable expire, when we close the browser window, when we close this browser window, and if we run once again the browser Internet Explorer, I am opening once again here. By default, when you close the browser window, then that particular session is expired. Now if I paste the URL and if I click on next value, then again session variable is created once again. That old session is expired because you are closing that browser window. So when user closes the browser window, at that time session will be expired. So here once again session variable will be created first. At this moment session ID is different than old session ID. At each time a new session ID will be created. So in this way session variables works inside ASP.NET website. Now how we can access this session variables value in another page? We see here I am creating one more page to access the session value, new item, and I am giving the name as get session value. Here inside label I am showing the session variable property. So here I am giving the label 2.text is equal to session of count value. We can access the session variable value inside any page. Now here we typecast. But before setting the value of session variable, we need to check is there any session variable of key count is present. If it is null, then we can't display the value of it. If it is not equal to null, then only we can display its value inside label, otherwise not. Now what is this link button? Inside properties I am setting the property link button, go back. Here we want to go back to the previous page, and the post back URL I am setting as a session demo. Okay, now inside session demo we are adding one more button to button. I don't want link button, I am taking here, and inside properties I am go to value page or whatever you want to display this. From this page we want to go to this page, and from this page we can come back to this previous page. So this is the functionality. If I run the code, that session variable is not expired. Here see, and if I go to the value page, my session variables value I can access on get session value.aspx page. If I go back once again, we see the session variables value. Here I am on session demo page. If I go towards next page, then also we can access that session variables value. So in this way we can access the session variables value. If you don't want to store the session ID inside cookie, then we can go towards the web.config file and give some changes or add some property here, like inside system.web we can set the property for session state cookieless we can set as true, so that the session ID will not be stored inside the browser's cookie. See you in next video what is the effect when we set the property cookieless as true. So see you in next video.